everyone, today I wanted to do another foundation video, and this is actually going to be a comparison of two foundations that are meant to be very glowy, very radiant, and give you a really nice sort of luminous complexion, something that's going to make you look more youthful but give you a really beautiful natural base. And they're both quite popular, especially one of them is definitely iconic. One of them is the NARS Sheer Glow, and that's definitely one of the most famous foundations in the world, I think, at the moment. It's been incredibly popular ever since it launched years and years ago. I've been wearing it since my early 20s, so a really long time, and it definitely has a firm place in my collection. But I'm going to be comparing it to something that's slightly newer, that's come out in the past couple of years, that's a really good competitor for it. Also gives you a lot of glow, but it has a lot more features to it that have kind of brought it along, so kind of like an evolved version of the NARS Sheer Glow. So I'm going to be comparing them today, and I feel like the foundation I'm comparing it to is kind of like an evolved version of the NARS Sheer Glow. It's something that's very glowy, but it's definitely evolved in terms of its texture, its heaviness and that kind of thing. So I'm going to get started. So of course the first foundation is the NARS Sheer Glow, and I'm going to be comparing it to the Light Wonder by Charlotte Tilbury, which is also meant to be a very glowy, youth boosting complexion in a bottle. So let's get going. In terms of packaging, very different. As you can see, the NARS is a small glass bottle that comes with a pump on top, which you have to buy separately. Normally it just comes with like a matte lid that's like a screw on, and you have to go to the trouble of buying the pump on top, which I don't really like. I prefer my high-end foundations to come with a pump, because I feel like we're paying for them. You're paying a lot for high-end foundations, so the last thing you want to do is have to go and buy a pump. I feel like they should come with. Thankfully, a lot of high-end brands are addressing that, and a lot of the new launches have come with, but NARS just haven't evolved really. They've kind of kept the packaging the same and haven't moved on, and you still have to buy it. But once you've bought it once, you can just transfer it to other bottles. Packaging is actually really nice, really minimalistic. I do like it. The Charlotte Tilbury comes in a plastic bottle with a screw top. I don't really mind the Charlotte Tilbury packaging. It's really nice and compact, nice and light, ideal for travel. The only thing is it does leak ever so slightly, which is a tiny bit wasteful, but you know, that's just one of those things. So packaging, I like them both. Size, so the Charlotte Tilbury is actually a 40ml foundation, so you do get 10 more mil, and the NARS Sheer Glow is obviously the standard 30. So they both claim to do the same thing. They both claim to give you excellent coverage whilst providing a nice base, very glowy, very healthy, very youthful. I feel like one definitely does that more than the other. In terms of the texture, they're very different as well. The Charlotte Tilbury is very light. It almost feels like a skincare product. I actually like to apply it with my fingertips because it's that light. It kind of feels like a moisturiser. I just put a bit on the balls of my fingertips and I blend it out, and it looks beautiful. I'm wearing it on my skin today, and I just feel like it gives me just the right amount of coverage. Feels very light, doesn't feel uncomfortable, which is the main thing that I love about it, but it also does give me that youthful glow that I love. I feel like I have a very radiant complexion when I wear it. My skin looks healthy, it looks balanced, and it just looks a whole lot better than my skin on its own, because I do have a few blemishes, I have a bit of redness. It's not the best in terms of its coverage. I would say it's a light to medium coverage. You can build it up, but then you're compromising on the best thing about it, which is the lightness. But I do like it a lot. I think it's a very ethereal foundation. It brings out your bone structure, it brings out your cheekbones, it photographs really well, it goes on camera beautifully, it blends gorgeously, and it lasts really well as well. So I love this foundation. It's probably in my top 3 of favourite foundations of all time. That's how much I love it. I think it's beautiful. There's something in it, like the light reflecting particles, that really add a shimmer to the cheeks and to the complexion, but it's not in an unnatural way. It's very authentic, and it just looks fantastic. So I love that one, and that's kind of a review in the nutshell on this one. This is called NARS Sheer Glow. So the thing I expected from it was a very glowy complexion. I almost expected it to be quite highlighty and to lift my features. I didn't find that. I found this to be very demi-matte, which I don't mind. I actually quite like a demi-matte finish. If you're not aware what demi-matte means, it kind of means it looks like skin. Very natural, healthy, but doesn't look shimmery and doesn't look matte. It's right in between, which is normally what I like to go for. But I wouldn't have necessarily called this glow, because I don't feel like it gives my skin a bit of glow at all. I think it just looks demi-matte. It looks nice and healthy, but there's nothing really glowy about it. I think when you're going to put glow in the title, you need to have that radiance, you need to have that luminosity or something that makes it extra special. And unfortunately, even though it's a beautiful foundation, it does cover up really well and feel really pleasant, it's not glowy, I don't find. I have done an in-depth review of this, which I'm going to link down below, where you can see application and that kind of thing, and I definitely love it. And I do feel like when you put other glowy products on top or underneath, like glowing primers, then you really get a good result, because it's a beautiful foundation and it complements a lot of skin tones. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's glowy. Back in the day when I first bought it, when there wasn't many foundations for it to compare to on the glowy spectrum, if you like, yes, it was glowy, and yes, it did feel like it was doing something that extra special. But at the moment, because we're having foundations like the Charlotte Tilbury that actually have that bit of glow, that have that ethereal highlighty fluid running through it, it kind of knocks this out of the water in a lot of ways, because even though this is called Sheer Glow, it isn't actually that glowy when you compare it to what's on the market at the moment. So if you bought this now, you might be feeling like, oh, it's not actually that glowy. If you'd have bought it back in the day when I first started using mine, then it was glowy on that current market, if that makes sense. But foundations have evolved since then, and this one hasn't. It stayed the same. The reason I think it stayed the same is, regardless of what finish it gives, people love it, and there's a few reasons for that. Amazing coverage, fantastic longevity, and doesn't feel as heavy as some of the higher coverage foundations out there, like the Estee Lauder Double Wear. That actually feels like you're applying a mask, in my opinion. It feels like a second skin almost, which is fantastic for some people that have things they need to wear. But if you just have regular skin and you have a few blemishes here and there, you might find that incredibly heavy. The NARS Sheer Glow offers you that kind of coverage, but it doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel mask-like, it blends in beautifully, and it lasts all day. So I can see why they've kept it the same, because it has such a cult following that they kind of feel like, why change it? In my opinion, it could have been a bit more glowy, and they could have brought out an alternative to the NARS Sheer Glow that had more of a highlighty element to it. But then, what would they call it? If you're looking for decent coverage, demi-matte finish, very healthy looking complexion, the NARS Sheer Glow is fantastic for all the reasons that I've stated. You know, it lasts really well, it doesn't transfer, once it's on, it's on, doesn't feel heavy or greasy or cakey, and it kind of stays put all day. If you want something that's very glowy and actually like its name and is going to give you that ethereal lit from within appearance, then the Charlotte Tilbury is 100 times better, because it actually does what it says on the bottle. Gives you that glow, gives you that light reflecting particles that are going to shine off against the light and catch the radiance when you move, and it's just beautiful. There's something about this foundation that just wakes the skin up and makes you look really healthy and glowy. And I definitely would say, if you're looking for a demi-matte finish with amazing coverage, go for the NARS Sheer Glow. If you want something that's actually glowy, then go for the Charlotte Tilbury. One thing to note about the Charlotte Tilbury is the coverage is definitely medium. It's not a full coverage foundation. You will have to build it up if you want full coverage. When you compare them side by side, the NARS can deal with skin ailments that this one wouldn't dream of tackling, just because it's very light. And I feel like if you did pack more of the products on, you're compromising again on that lightness, which is not ideal. So, you know, if you don't need a lot of coverage and you do want that glowy look, then the Charlotte Tilbury is definitely the one for you. But if you do need more coverage, you need it to last that little bit longer, and you're just after a demi-matte finish, then the NARS is definitely one to go for. In terms of skin type, skin tones, skin textures, that kind of thing, they both offer a very good range of shades, so everyone should be able to find their shade in both foundations. If you're interested in the Charlotte Tilbury, I am 7 medium, and in the NARS Sheer Glow, I am Punjab, and it's, again, it's a shade that I've always stuck with NARS, and when I go to tanning, I just mix it with a bit of liquid bronzer and it works fine. I don't tend to buy a different shade altogether. Both of them are very comfortable to wear. However, the NARS does feel slightly heavier, but that's because it has that more coverage to it. In terms of skin type, they both work reasonably well for all kinds of skin types. I've used them on dry skin days, they felt fine. I've used them when my skin is feeling a little bit oilier in the summertime. Again, they both worked fine. There's no skin type I feel like these are more geared to. I feel like normal skin types will get away with them just fine. If you do have dry skin, use a hydrating primer. I would recommend that anyway, but I feel like these are great all-round foundations for everybody in terms of skin type and skin tone. So guys, I hope you all found this review helpful. Don't forget to pop in the comments box down below any questions you have, how you've got on with them, if you've compared them, what your thoughts are, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to give it a like if you enjoyed it, and obviously subscribe if you're new to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!